Hot Mess Mama, coming to you live from my beach condo in Atlanta Beach, North Carolina. Beautiful sunny day, hotter than all bejesus, and very, very humid. So like I know I had some friends up north that were complaining, saying, oh my gosh, it's so hot today, it's almost nearing 100. 100 like in the Midwest is like 80 in the South. Because in the South we have like 1,000% humidity. So it's super humid today, like to the point where I came out here and my camera fogged up, like my phone fogged up. So before I get away from myself, it is darn hot, and so we need to chill. We need to chill for so many reasons. We need to chill because it was a long week, mamas, and we need to chill because it's hot outside, and we need to chill because 4th of July is coming up. And some of you are just getting out now for school. Like someone was saying to me, like, "Oh, wait, I'm just getting ready for the school year to end." I'm like, it's like July. How could your school year be ending now? Anyways, so if you may have missed it, this tasting is going to be all about pudding and jello, right? Every kid in their life, every person in their life has had jello at least once in their life. Watch it wiggle, see it jiggle. Do you remember those? Remember jigglers? Remember how popular that stuff was? They had the little jello molds too and everything. Oh my, here comes my kids. Thank goodness I'm up here and they're way down there. Anyway, so jiggler craze, that was big. Hey, I see someone's joined. Say hello. So the jiggler craze was really huge. And then do you remember when they had the whole pudding thing for a while? Remember with the whole Bill Cosby, they had like jello pudding pops and he was like the spokesperson. Remember that? Oh my gosh, yeah. So we were talking now I never made pudding homemade from scratch. I just never had any patience for that. My mom never made it. It always came out of the pudding box, right? Same thing with jello. Like we had jello. My parents, I was a child of the 80s, so we had jello like in our refrigerator all the time, like all the time. My mom would make a bowl of jello and she'd float bananas in. Hey, Katie! She'd float bananas in it, or she'd float strawberries in it, or pineapple, or whatever. We would always have jello. And in the South, I guess like jello molds are like a must-have. Like everybody knows, everybody's got a favorite jello mold recipe. Hey, Katie! Happy birthday! It was Katie's birthday this week. It was just yesterday. Happy birthday! Happy birthday! Okay, so I made some in honor of the jello. I went to go search around. Hey, Caroline, how are you? I went to search around to see, try to figure out. Oh, wine and pudding be so easy to pair? Not. They're super hard to pair. Pairing with. Hey, Mary, how are you? Pairing wine and pairing jello with wines, not an easy task. And so when I went to go do some online searching, I was like, okay, let's see what I can find that can help me to determine what I compare with the jello. Every time I did any kind of search, it pulled up jello wine shots. Kind of like, you know how we have jello shots when we were in college and you do vodka and jello or whatever? They actually have a jello wine shot. And the previous video that I did to this, go check it out. And I made some, live with you guys. And I literally put them in this thing so I could show you. I came out here and they're now already melting. These are the jello jugglers that I made, and I didn't have any of those little PC cups, like little plastic cups that we used to shoot back in college, so I did it in ice cube trays. So here it is, here's the final, and it was like, I'm slurping it back because this is so classy, because it's not vodka, right? It's wine, so it's gotta be classy, right? Keeping it classy, ladies. I'll tell you, it's pretty good. It was like the recipe, you can, like I said, you can check out the recipe on my previous post, but it was like orange jello with like 7-Up and red wine. So it kind of tastes a little bit like a sangria, but I don't find that it's as strong as like the jello shots of our era with the vodka or the rum or whatever, or grain alcohol. But I felt it necessary to do this tasting first because they're literally melting in my Tupperware as we speak. Like, look at this. Pretty good. Yeah. I don't mean to date myself because, it's a long time since I did some serious jello shots, right? Way before kids. Anyways, but I thought it'd be fun to try the wine ones. And they're kind of fun. And you know what? You can do it with champagne, you can do it with white wine, you can do it with red wine and all that kind of stuff. It might be fun to do for your 4th of July parties that are coming up. They have all sorts of different concoctions that you can mix, orange and vanilla, like orange jello with vanilla vodka, and it tastes like creamsicle or dreamsicle. But this wine one was pretty tasty. Kind of tastes a little bit like a sangria. I have a feeling I'm going to be needing this great big towel a lot. Okay, so this wine tasting is going to be a little bit of a challenge because I have a lot of wines that I need to taste with a lot of puddings, and I don't have a sidekick, so I might forget exactly what I'm doing, so I need you people to keep me on pace. All right, so first one that we're trying tonight is a strawberry jello. And like I said, I was like, you know what, I'm running to the Walmart and I'm picking up the snack packs. Remember this? We never had snack packs when we were kids. I wish that we did, because that would have been fun to have more lunch boxes. I think Do you remember what did Lunchables? Lunchables didn't come around until we were like well into 8th grade. At that point, we're like, who's gonna eat Lunchable as an 8th grader? But yes, so strawberry jello. These came in a pack. It's a 4-pack. 2 oranges, 2 strawberries, right? So we are gonna try a strawberry jello. Is anybody tasting with me right now? I love these because you know what? They don't need refrigerating. Like so, like I didn't have to take up room in my refrigerator for these. So like I could just keep them on a shelf, right? But I don't know how long they're gonna last out here in the melting hot sun. Okay, did you go to the pool today? I know you said you were thinking about going to the pool today. Anyways, okay, so my research has shown that I should be tasting strawberry jello. Look at that, it's literally melting on the cap. Strawberry jello with a rosé, which is kind of like a pink wine, and a Cabernet Sauvignon. So I'm gonna taste this. I can't believe we did like chew jello. Did you, as a kid, did you like take and go and like squish it through your teeth? Down goes the rosé. I kind of feel like the strawberry jello is too sweet for the rosé. I'm chewing jello. I know. It's super hot for the pool. Okay, so honestly, I'm not digging the strawberry with the rosé. So we're gonna go on next onto the strawberry with the Cabernet Sauvignon. Now, I'm like, I will prefer a white over a red any day. What do you like better, Katie? Do you like reds or whites? No, you care. Do you like reds or whites? Or Mary Ring, you're still on here, right? Are you a red or a white wine drinker? Or neither? Or none of the above? Or beer? Or non-alcoholic? They do have non-alcoholic wines. You're a white wine drinker? Mm-hmm. I kind of feel like the red wine is better, tastes better with the strawberry jello. I don't know. Yeah, strawberry jello and red wine tastes better than the rosé. Now I feel like I should have brought more cups out here because now I gotta finish all this wine before I go on to the next one. Yeah, no. Katie, you and I will take a sparkling any day of the week, right? Right with meals. I kind of get that. But like, I'll take a sparkling anything. And she found this really awesome wine at like Trader Joe's. It's like mango prosecco or pineapple prosecco or something like that, right? Okay, so strawberry jello. I think the verdict for the strawberry jello is that it tastes better with the Cabernet Sauvignon with the red, and I don't know why, but the rosé didn't do anything for the strawberry jello, and that's a shame. Now oh man, now I'm gonna have to drink this down because I don't unless I water the plants with it, but that would be a shame, right? Mango prosecco, that's what it is. We don't have a Trader Joe's here, so like I am like beside myself. I gotta find some of that. It sounds super delish. Delish. Does anybody say that anymore? I feel like so cheesy when I say delish. I'm gonna say delish anyways. So here's what I've been thinking about this week. A couple of things. Actually, a lot of things were on my mind. I don't know if you saw this other post that I put out there earlier. This video about parents having favorite children. And I happened to stumble upon this article, and it was all about how, like, you know what? 70% of men, or 70% of fathers, and 3% of mothers have a favorite child. It doesn't mean that, so like if they had a son and a daughter, it doesn't mean that they love them any different. They love them equally the same, but they have one of them as their favorite. I thought, gosh. It spoke to me because my son kind of said something earlier in the week saying, oh, Zana gets whatever she wants. I want to be a baby again because I want to get everything I want like Zana does, his sister. So that's when I thought, oh my gosh, I wonder if he thinks that like Zana's our favorite. Well, apparently it's very, very common for parents to have favorites. And that no matter how they handle it, like whether or not if they show favoritism or don't show favoritism, like if they are fawning all over their favorite and ignoring the non-favorite, or if they're treating them all equally, regardless of how they act, the child is going to believe that the parents have a favorite. Like no matter what you do, your children are going to think that you have a favorite. I know, and I said in my video that like I totally feel like my parents favored my sister. Well, I think both of them really favored my sister. And I get it. like, I get it. Like, there are moments where I really, like, favor my son and other moments where I really favor my daughter. I think it's all real seasonal and stuff like that. Like, because, you know, like, there are days where you just like one more than another. But, and that might just be behaviorally based. But I don't know. I mean, like, what do you guys think? Do you guys, I mean, you don't have to say who your favorite is, but have you ever thought about that? Like, do you ever think about, oh gosh, yeah, my brother was the favorite. Oh gosh, yeah, I do have a favorite. I won't say who it is, but I do have a favorite. See, Katie, yes, Katie, I know exactly what you're thinking. But yeah, so like, what do you think? Like, Katie, do you think you show favoritism, or are there moments where you think you have a favorite kid over another? Because you've got a lot of gorgeous girls. I don't know, they're pretty awesome. You don't have to answer this. We'll talk later. Anyways. That was one thing that was weighing heavily on my mind this week. And then I also saw this other like little video this week about this form of parenting called conscious parenting. Have any of you heard of this conscious parenting thing? Conscious parenting. I don't know enough about it to speak really well about it. So if any of you know about it, please chime in and talk about it. Conscious parenting, it's kind of just like, they were giving examples of, you favor your youngest. Yeah, they were saying that. They were saying that, like, it's funny that, like, if there's 3 kids in the family, the oldest kid doesn't seem to care if you favor someone or not, because they're, like, the oldest and they know their place in the hierarchy. And the youngest kid in the family doesn't seem to care either, because they know they're getting the most attention because they're the neediest, they're the youngest. It's that middle kid that gets the shaft. It's the Jan Brady syndrome, right? It's like Jan saying Marsha, because she's not the cute little one anymore. She's not the sophisticated, adult kid. She's that middle kid that gets zero attention, right? So I get it. I totally get it. But yeah, so conscious parenting, look it up. I really, let's just say I knew nothing about it until I saw this video, and I don't even really know how to describe it really well. But like they were talking about it, and they were saying, oh, like, every day with my 2-year-old, I sit down in the car with them and I tell them exactly what we're going to do that day. So we wake up in the morning and I say, okay, Susie Q, 2-year-old Susie Q, today we're going to go to the market and we're going to buy 3 bananas and 6 apples. And then from there, we're going to go to church and we're going to say a prayer. And then from there, we're going to go to the dry cleaners and pick up our dry cleaning, and then from there we're going to come home and we're going to have lunch, and we're going to have a peanut butter and jelly sandwich with a cheese stick, and then we're going to take a little nap, and then like they go on and on like that's what they're like 2-year-old kids, because they feel like they're able to like lay out the groundwork for the day, and the kids feel involved in the day, and I don't know, it seemed weird to me, but apparently that's part of it. And then the other part of it is like, hey, when your kids throw a tantrum, you go to them and say, it's okay, you can throw your tantrum. It's okay. And then they go to you and they say, like, why are you having that tantrum? Why are you upset? Because whenever you're upset, it's not yours. That's not yours. Like, if you're upset because that kid took your toy, you're not upset. That's it. That's his. Like, that's not yours. That's his. Like, give it to the kid. Like I don't know how to explain it. I just was like, it was a very difficult concept for me to understand, but it was kind of very new agey and touchy-feely for me. And I was like trying to go along with it and say, okay, maybe there's some sense to this conscious parenting thing. And then the woman started talking about how her child was this sensory, and how like her child like talked to spirits and talked to dead people. So that's when I kind of said, I don't know how much credence I'm going to put into that. But anyways, does anybody out there know anything about conscious parenting? Does anybody know anything about conscious parenting out there? I would like to know if you know a little bit more. Maybe I need to do a blog post about that. I don't know. Anyways, like parenting. Parenting is hard. Parenting is hard. And we all parent differently. And I saw this like infographic today with something like, I love it when I find another mother who parents completely different than me, but I don't give a shit. And I don't mom shame because we're all in this together. It was a really cool infographic. I hope I get what I'm thinking. But yeah, like, we're all going to raise our kids differently. Why? Because our kids are all different. They're all different, and they need different styles of parenting. So I thought that was a cool infographic, and it kind of spoke to my heart, because it was like, yeah, you know what? I'm going to parent different than my kid, and she's going to parent from her kid. And, I'm not going to judge her, and I hope she's not going to judge me, because we're doing the best that we can. And I'm not going to judge. I'm not going to mom shame. So screw it. And, moms unite, right? Okay. So Okay, is anybody drinking anything with me, or am I on my own for this drinking bit? Okay, so then I gotta move on to the orange jello before my orange jello melts. Orange jello is I'm supposed to be drinking Moscato and a sparkling wine. So Moscato, if you don't already know, Moscato can be called either Muscat or Moscato. It doesn't matter. It's all from the same. It's from a region in Italy, and so it's the Muscat region or whatever. So whether it's Moscato d'Asti or Moscato, it's all the same thing basically. Just the grape comes from the region in Italy. So I'm sorry if my connection keeps going in and out and it's not live. So that's kind of weird, and I'm sorry. I don't know why it's doing that, but I'm going to pour myself some Moscato, and I feel bad because my wine is melting in the heat of the sun. And I wouldn't have this bad of an internet connection if it wasn't for me having to drink all of this wine out on the patio to steer clear of my children who are downstairs. So, orange jello, Muscat, and sparkling wine. So I got to finish this red so I can break into the other two. So, what were you guys up to this week? Anything good? Did you guys have any fun this week? Any crazy stories to tell me? I was talking to this other woman online. It was really sweet. I was talking to her about, I said, hey, what's the craziest thing that your kid did this week? And she said, this week, let's talk about what the craziest thing my kid did today. She said, my kid was fighting with his sibling, his sister, and she made him so mad that he just stood in front of her and he peed on the kitchen floor. Peed on the kitchen floor just to piss her off. And I was like, huh. So I asked the mother, I said, well, what did you do? And she said, I kind of said that was unacceptable. And I handed him a new pair of underpants, and I, kind of let him do his thing. And he was hard. She said he was harder on himself than anything because he was kind of at that point almost ashamed, right? So, and she said, but the funny thing was that the sister went over and she consoled him. But the funny part, she was like, yeah, he literally just stood there, and he must have been an older child. She's like, but not super older, but probably 4 or 5 years old. She's like, he stood there and he peed on my kitchen floor. Peed on my kitchen floor. And then another mother said to me that, another mother on social media, she was saying that the craziest thing her kid did this week, or messiest thing was, is that they thought it would be fun to play with kinetic sand in her bed. So she's like, I have no idea how I'm going to get this kinetic sand out of my bed. Do you guys know anything about kinetic sand? I was given kinetic sand for my kids, and I'm almost afraid to let them use it because I'm afraid that it's really not all that. I'm afraid it's going to get messy. I mean, I know it's not as messy as sand, but wait for it. I know it's not as messy as sand, but I do know that it's messy. So I felt for this poor mother where she was like, yeah, my kid decided to play with kinetic sand, in her sheets underneath the bed. I was like, how do you get that out? Can you wash that? Can you put something like that in the washing machine? Because does the washing, because I'm sure there's some sort of polymer or plastic or something in there that probably is not good to be putting in the washing machine. Man, I had another friend who said that her, when her kids were young, they decided they were going to take butt cream and wipe butt cream all over their couch. And then another mother came to me and said, oh, butt cream? She goes, try talcum powder. You can't get talcum powder out of anything. She's like, you cannot get talcum powder out of anything. It's like, yeah, that sounds like that really sucks. Okay. So what's the craziest thing that your kids did this week? I'm trying to think of what some of the craziest things I read that my kids did this week. It's so funny because I feel like in my life there's so many crazy things that my kids do all day, every day that I can't even pick one. Because it's this constant state of crazy and madness. Okay, on to Jello number 2. Super sophisticated. Orange Jello. I think I might like this better. Orange Jello, and it's supposed to be tasted with Moscato, which is a sweet white from the Italian region. Let's see how this fares with Moscato. Oh my. Moscato is darn good with the orange Jello. Oh my. Now, I might start to get a little bit loopy because I haven't had anything to eat since lunch, which is actually brunch for me. Okay. That Moscato with the orange Jello. Now, this was orange Jello with the Prosecco. And it was good. But not as good as the Muscat. So far, my favorite is the Muscat and the orange Jello. It's funny because my husband and I went to Walmart to go get wine, because I figured every mom needs, who's going to like take the time to go to a wine shop when they're just going to blow into a Walmart, right? I like this orange jello and this Scotch so much, I'm drinking another sip. Oh my, this is really good. This is my favorite so far. So we went into the Walmart, and in the state of North Carolina, we're an ABC state, which means that like we deal with state-owned liquor stores. So if you want to buy liquor, you've got to go to an ABC store. They call them ABC stores, a liquor store, and they're only open at certain times and certain days. But if you want to buy beer or wine, you have to buy it from like a gas station or a grocery store or a big box like a Walmart or a Target. But we're like, we know that you can't buy liquor until a certain hour of the day. So we knew that in the state of North Carolina, you can't buy, an 18-year-old told me one of his girlfriends has great boobies. No filter. Great boobies. My son grabbed at my boobies the other day, and I was like, at this point, he's like 6 years old. I'm like, you don't grab at girls' boobies. Those are their private parts. I'm like, I know that you believe that everything below the waist, you know that everything below the waist is a private part, because you know that you've got a different private part than your sister does. But like ladies, these are private parts for ladies too. So let me. We're going to table this conversation that I was just talking about before. I may not come back to it because I may not remember. But anyway, so that kind of brings me to another discussion. Like, I remember one of my girlfriends was saying, oh, you know, something when I'm showering with my 6 and 4-year-old. I'm like, isn't that kind of old for you to be showering with your, like, a mom getting naked and showering with her 6 and 4-year-old? I'm like, isn't that kind of, I don't know, is that like, it just seemed weird to me. But now that I have a 6-year-old, like when I'm in the shower and he jumps in and I was like, okay, you know what, I just got to like hose you down and get in and out. I kind of get it. But at the time I was like, really? You're showering with your 6-year-old? So at what point do you stop letting your kids see you naked? Because you're allowed to see them naked for the rest of their lives because you're their mom. So if they've got a mole or a bump or a scratch or something, no matter where it is, because you're mom, you have license to see it. But at what point is it not appropriate for your child to see you naked? And is it different if it's a girl or a boy? Like, I'll get dressed in front of my mom, and my mom will get dressed in front of me. But will I feel comfortable getting dressed in front of my dad? No. So, like, but will my son get dressed in front of his dad when he's older? I don't know. Like, I'm trying to figure out, like, at what point, at what age do I have to stop being naked around my kids? I just say because, you know, we're at the beach and we're naked. I mean, you're naked all the time. You literally come in, you throw off your swimsuits, you jump in the shower, blah, blah, blah. Once my boys were aware enough to ask me why my parts were different, I get that. So, like, I always tell my son and my daughter, I say, you know what, these are your private parts, and nobody's allowed to touch them or look at them unless there's mommy or daddy or a doctor, basically. Because, you know, we want to kind of set the stage that I just get so scared when you hear about all these, like, child molestation cases and stuff. So, pardon me, I just had a WERP. Remember what a WERP is? For those that are like the people that join me regularly, a WERP is a wine burp. WERP. Just had a WERP. Anyway, so yes. Yeah, so like I'm trying to figure out like at what point, but it's just, but there's that part that goes, you know what, it's so easy. It's so easy to like get your son and your daughter and yourself all jump in the shower, hose down and like shower and then get on your way, right? But there comes a point where it's like, okay, when does it become inappropriate? And you're right, I guess when they know to ask why your parts are different. Let me tell you, my son this week, this is another thing, I'm gonna have to do a whole separate live about this, but my son came to me this week and he said, hey mom, and he's 6. We're literally like having breakfast, watching cartoons, getting ready to go to his, I don't know, tutoring lesson or something. And he said, hey mom, where do babies come from? 6. Hey mom, where do babies come from? And I was like, and I honestly, like, I wanted to answer his question because I think he could probably handle it. But I knew that I only had like 3 or 4 minutes before we had to leave to go to his tutoring session. So I didn't want to go into it. And so I kind of just said, and I wasn't trying to like skirt the issue, but I felt like it needed more time than the 3 minutes that I was going to have to dedicate to it at that point. And so I kind of said, you know what, hon, it's really complicated, so let's talk about it later. And so far he's forgotten about it, but I know that he's going to resurrect the question as to, Mom, where do babies come from? And is 6 too young to tell your kids about where babies come from? And what do you say? Like, do you say, like, you're not ready to know this yet, I'll tell you when you're older? Or do you say, well, Mommy and Daddy want to have a baby, and so they, I don't know what, they get really close, and Daddy uses his pee-pee to put a seed in Mommy's belly. But Daddy uses his pee-pee to put it in Mommy's part. Daddy uses his private part to put a seed in Mommy's private part, and then that seed turns into a baby in Mommy's belly. Like, at 6, I don't know exactly how to, like, and I don't want to sugarcoat it. Like, I don't want to do like the whole Cabbage Patch thing and be like, oh no, they came from God, or they come from storks. I want to be honest with him, but like something that's at his pay grade, right? So, how old were your kids when they asked about the birds and the bees? And what did you tell them? Like, how did you tell them? Like, I mean, like, if my kid came to me at like, I don't know, 10, maybe I think I could just, explain it better. And I realized that we really need to be more explicit with our children at younger ages now, given that they're getting more and more sexually active at younger ages. But I just wasn't ready to tell my 6-year-old yet. Your oldest was around 6 as well. I know. I wonder what it is about the number 6. No, now, Caroline, what did you tell your kid? Like, how did you handle that? Because I don't want to lie to him, but I also don't want to give him so much information that it's going to overwhelm him. And like, I want to like dumb it down for a 6-year-old. Casey, we've been trying some jello. So we've already done strawberry, we've already done orange, and so far I have been unimpressed with the strawberry and sort of unimpressed with the orange jello, but I will tell you, a Moscato with the orange jello, that's yum. That's some yum. So like when Casey she sells some wines and stuff. If you're selling some Moscato, selling point, pairs well with orange jello. That's going to sell 1 million cases, Casey. Telling you right now. So yeah, Casey, we were just talking about how my 6-year-old asked me this week about where babies came from, and I wasn't quite sure what to tell him, and I only had about 3 minutes to try to explain it to him. So I kind of said, hey, you know what? It's really complicated. We'll talk about it later. And it wasn't that it wasn't something I wanted to talk about, but I guess I really only had 3 minutes, and I was like, that's not enough time to try to explain to a 6-year-old where babies come from. So what did you say? You had told him that when Mommy and Daddy want a baby, they go to bed and pray together. Oh God. Okay. I think my son, I want to be, honest with him, but I don't want to overwhelm him with the biology of it all. So I kind of just want to say, maybe Daddy puts his private part inside Mommy's private part and puts a seed in Mommy's belly and a baby comes. If God thinks that it's time for her to have a baby, I don't know. Like, how do you tell a 6-year-old where babies come from? Because I don't want to complicate things with biology, because it's way above what he's going to be able to comprehend. So yeah, I totally don't think he wants to know the biology of it, but at the same time, I don't want to say a stork drops him off at our doorstep. And I know that it's probably going to complicate things, because my son was a biological child, and his sister was adopted. So literally, we showed up one day with a baby. He's like, okay, and so he never saw me with a belly, and he never saw the 9 months of the progression. Unfortunately, my belly is not quite flat, so I'd like to ask if I'm having another. Yeah, my son did that to me the other day. My son said, "Oh, Mommy, your belly's big. Are you pregnant?" I'm like, "Yeah, no. Let's not go there, honey. I love you, and let's not be talking about Mommy's belly being a little bit bloated." But yeah, we were very honest with my son, and we're very open about the fact that our daughter is adopted. And we had said, there was another mommy who had a baby in her tummy, and she knew that she couldn't take care of her baby, and so she asked, and so she prayed to God. That's what she prayed to God, and I prayed to God because I wanted another baby, and God said, Susan, this mommy needs help, and she needs you to take care of her baby, and I think you're ready to take care of her baby. So God connected the two of us, and now I'm taking care of this woman's baby, and now she's going to be ours. She's going to be part of our forever family. So, like, but my son was 3, but like literally we showed up one day with a baby. So like the whole stork thing could really make sense to him because I never carried it in my belly or anything like that. So I want to tread very carefully about all of that because I don't want to complicate things. But yet I feel like it's such it is number one, a complicated thing to say to kids at all, but to a 6-year-old. A 6-year-old. Okay, so we've done jellos. We've done strawberries, and that was pretty uneventful. We've done orange, and I really enjoyed it with Moscato. Now we're going on to, chocolate pudding. Now I should have brought more glasses because I've been pounding back all of this wine without any help. That was Moscato. Okay. So chocolate pudding is supposed to be paired with more Moscato, which we've talked about, and a port. Moscatos and ports. Okay, so chocolate puddings. I think my camera keeps going in and out of connection, so I apologize if you guys keep getting a delay, but we're moving on to chocolate puddings. And the chocolate pudding, they say that it's best paired with a Moscato, which we've already had, with the orange, which has been my favorite, and a port, which is a really kind of like refined, sugary red wine. So I had to empty the glasses, so you know. My son said the other day, it was so funny. He's like, "Hey, mommy's funny." She goes, "Glug glug 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 glug." I was like, "Oh no!" Like my daughter will like take a water bottle or whatever and go glug 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 glug, and she'll like drink the whole thing down like that. And she'll go, "Oh, look, like mommy." Glug, glug, glug. 6-year-olds. Anyways, okay. Chocolate pudding. We're going to do Moscato again with the chocolate pudding. And we are going to do a port with the chocolate pudding. And I will tell you, like, when you're talking to any of these, like, wine experts, they're all saying, please, please, please do not pair chocolate with red wine. Like, you look out there and everyone's saying, you have to pair this chocolate with this red wine. Like, they say, like, the darker the chocolate, the darker the wine. Like, supposedly when you're pairing chocolates and wines, you're supposed to say, like, if you're doing a white chocolate, you drink a white wine. If you drink, like a lighter red, you do, like, a milk chocolate. If you're doing, like, a dark chocolate, like a cocoa, you do, like, the really rich reds. But now that I've been doing some more research, they're saying, no, don't pair chocolate with reds. Why are people pairing chocolates with reds? And I thought that was really interesting because I was, like, all about getting ready to do that. But, I think the port is probably an exception because the port is a really sweet. Now normally I don't carry port. Port is not sold in a plastic water bottle, but I didn't want to carry the big old bottle of port that I had up here. So red port, white Moscato, or Muscat, wherever you feel. Supposedly to pair with a nice chocolate. Now, I think port. I love ports. Ports are super sweet and super like enriched. Super fermented, super sugary, and they're usually paired like as a dessert wine. And you have them like, I've had them with like really salty cheeses, really good fruits. My favorite pairing that we've done so far has been with the cereals, and I had port with like Cinnamon Toast Crunch. That was seriously the best ever. Okay, so I'm licking the chocolate pudding off of the foil of my pudding snack pack. So, they say chocolate pudding and Moscato. Okay, we're gonna try, so I have a hard time because they keep saying, oh, why are you pairing chocolate with reds? When you're pairing a chocolate, you want to make sure that the wine is sweeter than the chocolate. Casey, what do you think about that? Like they're saying, like you don't want to have a wine, like the red wines are so dry and kind of bitter, well not bitter, but like, harsh on the palate that they overpower the chocolate. So they're saying, don't pair a red with a chocolate because you want to pair chocolates with a wine that is sweeter than the chocolate. I can't believe I'm having this philosophical conversation about chocolate and wine over a pudding snack pack. So, this is the port. You disagree? What do you think, Carrie? Casey, I called you Carrie, I'm sorry. So, the port and the chocolate was quite tasty. Let's try it with the Moscato. I think they're both tasty. You say red and chocolate are delicious. I know. See, now my husband for a long time, he actually worked in like a chocolate factory. He worked as like a quality director in a plant that produced gourmet chocolates. And so he knew a ton about chocolate and how to produce it, how to enrobe it, about fat blooming. I know you don't know what any of that stuff is, but he was big into chocolate. And he thought it was like the Antichrist because I was like, I can't do dark chocolate. He's like, no, the good stuff is the pure stuff, like the 90% cocoa. Like all that other stuff is just milk and filler and sugar. So when you people and your sweet milk chocolate and your white chocolate, ooh, that's nothing but like cocoa butter and like lard. That's like sacrilegious, right? And I'm like, I don't know, man. I'm all about this. What did you say? Oh, you can't get on the 72. So like what? So like, Casey, is it just 72% that you can do, or you can't do anything higher than 72%? I'm trying this again. I will say the Moscato and the chocolate pudding, and I keep using the word delightful because the only time that I use the word delightful is when I'm having wine tasting. It's delightful. The chocolate and the Moscato. You can't do too dark. I can't either. The chocolate and the port is really tasty too. But so far, I've really dug the Moscato with all of this. Now, there was a while where I was like diabetic as a pregnant person, and so like the only thing, any kind of chocolate that we had to be like super dark because it had to have like no sugar in it. My dad too was diabetic, and he was the only like treat he could have was like if you got the dark chocolate bars, which are like 90% chocolate, and they have no sugar in it, and they have time for a drink. You're slurring. Good for you. Okay. Migraines. Dark triggers your migraines, Caroline. Really? Do reds trigger your migraines? Because I know a lot of people, because of sulfites and the antihistamines and stuff, and red wines trigger headaches. So, all right. So we're gonna move on to actually. This is horrible. This is why I need a sidekick, and I need to like pare down. Oh yes, ma'am. Right. So I need to pare down. Like I felt like as I was like putting together these pairings, I'm like, this is a lot of wine. I'm looking down at the floor right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bottles of wine on my floor right now. Gladly, 4th of July is coming up, and we have plenty of people that will. And I have all those wine jello shots in my fridge. So yeah, the good thing 4th of July is coming up, and there's going to be some people coming to visit. So I got to finish this. Wait. What's the last one? Butterscotch. Okay, Chardonnay and Moscato with butterscotch. So I will say that I remember like being like, ooh, butterscotch. Who wants butterscotch? I will take chocolate any day they wake over butterscotch pudding. And then one day I was doing an event in San Francisco. Incidentally, port wine is not a wine that you can kind of chug like a regular red wine because it's so sweet. It's very thick. It's not something that you can really kind of gulp down. But I'm here to take one for the team, so I'm going to do what I can. But anyways, I was in San Francisco and I was doing an event, and one of the desserts offerings that was on the menu was like a butterscotch pudding. And I was like, really? Butterscotch pudding? Is it really that good? And they're like, oh my gosh, it's the best thing on the menu. So I'm like, all right, I'll try the butterscotch pudding. Not having any high hopes for it. It was seriously orgasmic. Probably one of the best puddings I've ever had in my life. Probably one of the best desserts I've ever had in my life. And we're talking like better than creme brulee, better than flaming desserts. better than Jacques Torres. It was like one of the like highest, best desserts I've ever had in my life. It was a butterscotch pudding from this restaurant. I think it was Acme Steakhouse or something like that in San Francisco. So I really don't think this like snack pack of butterscotch pudding is gonna hold up to that reputation. But you know, so I don't discount butterscotch pudding anymore since that particular incident that I had. Chardonnay is it's your least favorite? I know. So we're pairing butterscotch with Chardonnay or butterscotch with Moscato. I think the Moscato's going to win out on this. I don't know. You don't like Chardonnay? Really? I like all whites. Chardonnays can be a little thicker and a little oakier, but I kind of feel like they have a little bit more fun in the palate than like a Pinot Grigio or like a Sauvignon Blanc. I don't know. But I'm an equal opportunity wineaholic. So, you know, I'm not going to turn anything wet. Okay, so back to the Walmart thing. So, my husband and I, kids are at Vacation Bible School, which I will tell you is the best thing that will happen to a woman's sex life in your entire life. 3 hours a day for a week of your kids being at Vacation Bible School. Free, while you can run errands and, you know, run errands with your husband. So, good stuff. My husband is like, can we sign him up for more Vacation Bible Schools? Your least fave, although I don't decline, especially because it's free. I know, right? Okay, so down the hatch with the port. But so what I was saying is that we went today. My kids were at Vacation Bible School, and my husband and I treated ourselves to like a breakfast at a diner, like, you know, pancakes at a diner, without children. And I know that sounds like, who cares? That's not a big deal. It's a huge deal when you don't have kids screaming and jumping all over the place, and you can't eat a meal without being like hyper vigilant over these kids being maniacs in a restaurant. You're actually carrying on a conversation. It was beautiful for my husband and I to have this like pancake breakfast together. But the other part of it was that I knew that I had to stock up on these wines for tonight, so we had to go to the Walmart to go pick up my wines. And we knew that, like, okay, you can't buy liquor in the state of North Carolina until after 10 o'clock. So we're like, okay, it's 9:30, 8. What are we going to do to kill another 28 minutes here in the Walmart before we can buy the wine? So we're tooling around. I'm like, okay, I'm going to go over here and look over here. You know, you can wait here by the cash registers because it's like, you know, 9:40 or whatever. Next thing I know, my husband's blowing through the checkout. I'm like, how did you get through the checkout 20 minutes early? It's not 10 o'clock. And he says, that's only for liquor. It doesn't count. You can buy liquor, you can buy wine or beer anytime. It's just liquor that you can't buy until 10 o'clock. And I was like, interesting. I was schooled. So, we're on to butterscotch pudding, which will be with Chardonnay and Muscat. So, this is another thing about Walmart. Okay, so typically, like when I'm looking for the cheapest bottle of wine, it's usually like $2.95, and it's like that 4-leaf or whatever it is. You know the brand. You know the brand I'm talking about? Yeah, Carrie, you know the one I'm talking about. Because I figured, you know what? This is the brand that like the moms are going to grab off the shelves when they just need a fix, right? Like they need a fix. So they're going to buy that like $2.96 bottle of Four Seasons or 4 Leaves or 4 Oaks or whatever it's called. But right next to it was this new brand called Whispering Hills. And it's like 50 cents more, 40 cents more. I was like, you know what? My viewers deserve an upgrade. So I'm going to buy this wine that's a 50 cent upgrade or 40 cent upgrade on the bottle and see how it fares. And it's been, you know, pretty decent so far. But I noticed too, have you been noticing this in the magazines that like Walmart is now getting on like the not high end, but like a better end wine trend? They now have like, they're selecting their own like brands that kind of like carry the W. They're gonna kind of get the W Walmart stamp of approval, and they're gonna carry like a W on the label or something like that. They're gonna be like the Walmart approved and Walmart endorsed wines, and they're like higher end wines. And I was like, I know wines in a Walmart scare me too, and I'm just saying, Carrie. But I will say that like, for moms who are just like, I don't have time to cart my 2 kids into a fine wine store or wait for a wine subscription to arrive, we're all about like, we gotta blow into a grocery store or blow into a Walmart or a Target and grab whatever's ever on the shelf. And we don't wanna pay a whole lot because we're not in it for the taste. We're in it for the fix, right? So there's this new brand out there and I was like, it's 40 cents more and it's called Whispering Hills. So Whispering Hills has been, I don't know who you are, Whispering Hills, but I've been drinking you for all of these with the exception of the sparkling and the port. And I will tell you that when I had to buy the port was in like a gallon. That's why you see it here like in a plastic water bottle, because like the ports were coming in like a gallon jug. Like, you know those Ernst and Gallo, like remember those with the big jugs? Anyways, okay, so we're moving on to butterscotch and we're gonna have a Chardonnay and a Moscato. So again, Chardonnay, Whispering Hills. I know. Casey, are you just like cringing right now? I know. Casey is like, she's awesome. She kind of works with these like traveling vineyards. Well, I call it traveling vineyards. What's the name of the company that you work with, where they like give you wine subscriptions and they deliver the wines directly to your door? She's like super awesome salesperson and she does like great stuff. Where's it going? Pennsylvania. We don't have wines. Okay, so, but she's like really awesome at what she does. Direct sellers. She's like direct sellers and traveling vineyards. There's a couple of other ones where like, it's kind of like Avon, where they kind of have wine parties and I don't mean to discount what you do, Casey, because I know it's like super awesome. But like they kind of have these like wine parties where everyone comes and they taste and they realize what they absolutely love, right? And they say, hey, you know what, I really love these wines from your company and I would love to like sign up for a subscription that will be delivered to my door. These like really good price deals and you know that I don't have to go to the store, like they'll just show up at my doorstep, right? So the kudos are hers. This is really awesome that she does that because I'm like stuck with going to the Walmart to buy the $2. But I upgraded for you people tonight. 40% upgrade on all these bottles. Okay, did you just see that happen? I opened my snack pack of butterscotch pudding and it just exploded all over my face in mid-show. Okay, super classy. Okay, so we are tasting butterscotch with a Chardonnay. So, Casey, if you had to choose, like, what's your favorite white wine? Like, would you do like a Pinot Grigio or a Sangiovese or a Scotch, or what's your favorite white? Butterscotch with the butterscotch with the Moscato, pretty killer. Butterscotch with the Moscato is pretty killer. I will tell you that much. Okay, that's on the next one. Butterscotch with the Chardonnay. The butterscotch with the Chardonnay isn't horrible. Isn't horrible. I know, Casey, I was thinking it's going to be horrible. Not horrible. But I will tell you, so far, the winners of the evening have been the strawberry jello did not pair well with pretty much anything, which was a disappointment. But the orange jello, I think, paired really well with the Moscato. The chocolate pudding, again, was if anything, the port with the chocolate. But the butterscotch pudding, pretty good with Moscato. Pretty decent with Chardonnay. You're not a fan of Chenin Blanc? I will say, there isn't a wine that I will turn down. I love every wine in every color and every shape or every form. I will tell you now, Casey, I would love to hear your opinions on Lambrusco. Again, I was at Walmart and I found like literally like a jug, like a gallon of Lambrusco. And I know that that's, I feel like I keep seeing that in the news and I keep seeing it all over the place in the trends, Lambrusco. And it's just a really sweet, like red wine. You prefer the sweeter wines? Yeah, you know, I do too, but they hit me like, I love sweeter wines, but you give me a sparkling, a dry or a spumant or whatever, like, or semi-dry or Prosecco's or Cavas. I mean, like, you give me anything that has bubbles in it and I feel like princess. Because I feel like every time a woman has a champagne glass in her hands, she looks like a goddess. I'm telling you, Casey, Chardonnay is not horrible. But you know, like, have you been noticing this trend, Casey, about Lambruscos? I keep feeling like everywhere I turn, I keep seeing people talking about Lambruscos, and I feel like, isn't that just like a cheap, sweet table wine? There's nothing wrong with that, but really? Really? I kind of feel like my favorites this evening have been the orange jello and the butterscotch. The strawberry is super disappointing. Like, I was really like, those are going to be my faves. I was very surprised. Look at that, I'm almost done with the butterscotch. I'm glad there's a couple more of these little cups because, like, my kids are going to want some. I literally had to lock myself upstairs on the third floor. I sent my husband out for pizza. What's a Friday? I feel like the Moscato has won all of us out. You don't know anything about Lambrusco? I know very little about Lambrusco, but I keep reading more and more about it. But I was kind of discouraged, like I said, when I went to Walmart, and the only Lambrusco that they had there was either in those little, you know, like tiny, like airline bottles like this, or they were in like a huge, like gallon, 750 milliliter jug. But I keep hearing more and more about it. So apparently I need to be schooled. So I'm looking to you, Casey, to be my in-house expert on all that. So, all right, guys. So it's time. It's 6 o'clock. We gotta like return to reality. I'm looking down at my 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bottles of wine that are down here. Really wishing that someone was here to help me with this. I'm really wishing my husband would get here fast with that pizza. Glad that you joined me. Super glad that you joined me. And looking forward to next week. What do you guys want to taste next week? Give me a challenge. Throw a challenge at me. Last week we did hummuses, remember? And one of my friends was like, I'm going to throw a challenge at you. Do chocolate hummus. And we did chocolate hummus and with a bunch of other hummuses. And it was awesome. I don't know. I'm kind of thinking next week I'm feeling like, don't judge, but I'm feeling like I saw this huge jug of like cheese balls at the Walmart and pork rinds. I'm thinking about that. And I was also thinking about, I don't know, ice cream. I was also thinking about like Hostess stuff, like Hostess pies or like Hostess ding dongs and Twinkies and stuff like that. Wine and chips, the kettle chip. You know what? Casey, we did do wine and chips once. We did wine and chips already once, so that would be a repeat. But and then I was thinking like wine and sloppy joes that week, or wine and Taco Bell, or I have a whole wine and jelly beans. You know, like I have a whole laundry list of things that I wanted to like pair wines with. What do you think? I know, right? I have to go to the gym can't go to the gym next week because it's kind of closed because of the 4th of July. Maybe we need to come with the 4th of July, like, wine. Casey, what would you recommend for a 4th of July wine? What would be your recommendation? Because, you know, it's hot in most of the United States at this time of year. What would you recommend? Come on, Casey. No pressure. My thought is anything in a glass. Sangria. You missed it at the beginning of this broadcast. I was talking about how I made like red and white versions. I know. I did earlier in the week. I did like a Facebook Live about how I was making jello shots with wine, and it was like red wine, 7-Up, and orange jello. And I tasted some, and I made it yesterday, and I tasted some here today. That's some good stuff. I feel like, okay, you know, jello shots bring me back to the days, you know, the days when I was young. These are pretty decent. And they're kind of fun little novelty thing. It kind of makes me feel a little bit more classier than I did when I was 21. So, enjoy your weekend, you guys. I love you to pieces. Thank you for joining me for this 2, 4, 6 bottles of wine that I am now going to have to figure out a way to finish. But that's okay. That's okay. We'll find friends. And I'm glad that I was able to share all this with you. But to summarize, I feel like the Moscato was the winner in all of this. And the Moscato paired really well with the orange jello and paired really well with the butterscotch pudding. Everything else is or even a disappointment. So don't waste your time with some of the other stuff. But thank you for joining. Really glad that you were here with me on this Friday night. I know your kids are probably walking in the door, and I hope that you're throwing a frozen pizza in the oven or ordering on Domino's, have it delivered. Have a great weekend. Hopefully we'll connect before the 4th of July. Again, throw another challenge at me. I would love to be challenged as to see what you might want me to pair with next. And love you to pieces. Be well, be safe, and we will connect later on this week. All right, guys, hang in there. Come on. Bye.